Belgium 5 England, 1980 Euros. This match was the first time England fans caused crowd trouble in an international competition game. It was the first England match of the 1980 Euros. Since our World Cup success of 1966, we had not qualified for any competition since the 1970 World Cup finals. But we had played a number of friendlies abroad, and our fans were already causing problems, which was dubbed the English disease. We'd also caused trouble at the qualifying match in Luxembourg in 1977. Not only that, but some of our domestic team's fans had been creating trouble in Europe, such as Leeds in 1975 and Spurs 1974. In fact, whenever England or an English team went abroad, there was likely to be trouble. So the scene was set for another bout of the English disease in Turin 1980. In our last video, we discussed how England fans dealt with Italians in the match against Italy in Turin, but that was the second match of the tournament. This match against Belgium was the first and again involved trouble with the local Italians. We speak to Michael, an England fan who witnessed the carnage, and tells us his story. England fan Michael tells his story. We'd been reading the Italian newspapers where they were stating, "Beware, the English are coming," and all that rubbish. So even before we arrived in Turin, we knew the Italians would be after us. Turin is home to the Torino and Juventus ultras, who see England as a massive scalp. They did back then, and still do, of course. That's why they always attack English scarfers, normal fans, instead of our main firms. They know it will make them appear tougher than they really are. It still goes on, especially with the ITs. I think they are mainly cowards, but of course, if there are enough of them, they will destroy you. Anyway, I digress. Turin, 1980. I went with some Liverpool scallies, and straight away we went on a robbing spree. Clothes, fags, booze, you name it, we robbed it. I had saved up 3 months' pay from working as a plasterer to go to Italy with 5 mates, and now here we were, in Turin. We'd managed to get tickets of the touts, so all was looking good. The night before the match was carnage. We were drinking in one of the pubs, and someone said that a Juventus mob had ambushed some England fans in the town square opposite. So we all ran out to confront an already in retreat mob of Italians who were being ushered away by the Italian police. There was probably about 1,000 English at this point. That's when the Italian riot police turned up. They forced all the English back and protected the Italian fans that had caused the trouble in the first place. Some of our fans legged it into side streets, but others, stupidly, went back into bars where the police now had them trapped. Some were attacked as they were escorted out of the bars into the street and made to sit there with their hands in cuffs, waiting for the riot vans to take them away. I think something like 30 plus were arrested. Most of them hadn't been involved in any trouble. They had merely gathered to see what was happening. This is always the way with foreign police. They don't seem to care who they arrest or attack. One of our lot was arrested and spent the night in the cells and didn't get to see the match the next day. After the carnage of the night before, with scores of arrests and mostly injured English fans in hospital, the day could only improve, couldn't it? No, not really. We were attacked again by the sneaky Italians on the build-up to the match. They were ambushing little pockets of England fans, sometimes women and children or scarfers. Then they would leg it before any England mob appeared, who would then be attacked by the police for trying to defend their comrades. At the ground, we found ourselves in with the Italians. There was our mob, mainly youngsters, and an older England firm, mainly West Ham, I think they were. There were some Belgians in the other stand, but it was obviously going to kick off with the Italians in their section of the ground. When Belgium equalized, they started cheering and throwing stuff. That was it. We charged at them, and they backed off. Kicking and punching, we tore into them. They started to panic and moved away from us. But then, out of nowhere, the riot police moved in with their tear gas canisters and baton charges. I don't know if you've ever experienced tear gas, but it's horrendous. You can't breathe at all. You can't see anything because it affects your eyes and you're all wobbly and the like. It's horrible stuff, and we were all trying to catch our breaths when they piled in with their batons. We all got beaten, indiscriminately. Young, old, scarfers and is-hoolies were all terrorized by the Italian police. There was so much tear gas it floated onto the pitch, and the ref had to take the players off for a while. Our goalie was treated on the pitch for effects of the smoke. When it all calmed down, and the few of us left managed to get our breath and eyesight back, Tony Woodcock scored a goal, which was disallowed for offside. So it all kicked off again, with the older England mob charging both the police and the Italians behind them, who had been goading us after the disallowed goal. We managed to break the police lines and run the Italians, but police reinforcements pushed us back, and then they let loose with the batons again. I tell you, I was black and blue for about 2 months. I think 50 were arrested. All England fans, of course, not one Italian fan. Yet they started the trouble. This is always the trouble with following England. You're fighting the police and the locals combined, and sometimes it's overwhelming, really. It's hard to take on the local police, all armed to the teeth and riot gear, which, being English, was quite a shock back then, more so than these days. 70 people were taken to hospital, mainly tear gas related and baton beatings. One of the older England guys was beaten unconscious though. I think he hit his head after a baton attack or something. I think they fined the FA £8,000, which I always thought odd. How can the FA control its own fans? After the match ended, we had to walk through a barrage of beatings from the now manic police. They were simply out of control and kept shouting, "See you again Sunday, unless you don't make it," as reference to us playing our second match against Italy in the same arena. While they're saying this, they are beating you up with their batons. I mean, it's simple police brutality, indiscriminate. They don't know whether you're hooligans from ICF or a scarfer from Wimbledon. You've just fair game to them. It was really sickening. There was a Juventus mob that was attacking us with bricks and bottles, so of course we chucked them back. They retreated back to their ambushing tactics, with scores of them attacking small English pockets of fans. Some England fans looked in a bad way. I mean, you were literally stepping over bodies in the street. That's how bad it was. When we tried to retaliate, their police would charge us again, and that's how it continued. Anyway, somehow we all survived and managed to almost crawl back to the hotel. Only problem was, it was more of the same for the Italian match, but that's another story. We thank Mike for his recollections. It's clear he still holds grudges against the Italian police for their mishandling of the situation, shall we say. It's the same old story with the police against English fans. Over-the-top tactics and spoiling for a fight more than the England fans, it seems. I know from my own experiences with French and German police, they lack the ability to work out who the actual hooligans are and often arrest the wrong people, so I know how Mike feels. Thanks for watching. Now please share, like and subscribe as it really helps our channel.